Have you ever wondered where the food in your grocery store comes from or how it's grown? How about the fruits and vegetables you eat at home or in a restaurant? Hundreds of thousands of farmers worldwide plant a variety of fruits, vegetables, and grains for the world to consume. Produce and foods are among the most important commodities in the global trade network, as food is in constant demand and is essential to life and the prosperity of nations. In contrast to the primitive farms seen in early history, today's farms use a variety of advanced technologies, mechanized equipment, science-based data, and fertilizers and pesticides to ensure a profitable harvest. Recently, scientists have focused on developing better products and processes that increase harvests while decreasing the negative impact on health and the environment.
How do farmers protect crops?
Virtually all fruits and vegetables are grown on farms. These farms are exposed to a wide range of destructive forces, such as insects that can reduce productivity. Several methods are used to eliminate or control agricultural pests that damage crops and reduce farm output. The most commonly applied pesticides are insecticides to kill insects, herbicides to kill weeds, and fungicides to control fungi, mold, and mildew. In addition to sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water, plants also need small amounts of nutrients found in soil in order to grow. When these essential nutrients are in abundance, crops produce larger and higher quality yields. However, if even one of the key nutrients is in short supply, plant growth is stagnated and crop yields are diminished. With the introduction of chemical-based fertilizers or chemical-based products containing nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, farmers have greatly increased their crop yields. However, farmers have to be cautious not to use too much fertilizer. If too much is used, it may not be absorbed by plants and will ultimately end up in streams, rivers, lakes, and oceans, all with detrimental effects. That's where sustainable agriculture comes in. Sustainable agriculture, as defined by the USDA, should over the long term satisfy human needs, enhance environmental quality and natural resource base, make the most efficient use of non-renewable resources, and integrate natural biological processes, sustain economic viability, and enhance quality of life.
So what can farmers do to reduce the need for fertilizers and pesticides?
One method employed by farms is the use of trap crops. Trap crops attract pests away from valuable crops, reducing crop damage. This is an effective and sustainable alternative to pesticide use. Crop rotation, the practice of growing different crops in succession on the same land, chiefly to preserve the productive capacity of the soil, is also a viable alternative to using fertilizers and can help sustain the soil for long periods of time. Pete Spike, an orange producer in Fort Pierce, Florida, has been involved in citrus farming all of his life and graduated from the University of Florida with a master's degree in tropical fruit culture. Like many Florida farmers, Spike has faced his share of natural disasters and economic downturns. But there are other devastating threats that require farmers to evaluate the way citrus is grown in Florida.
What kinds of threats?
Greening is one of the most serious citrus diseases in the world. Trees infected with the greening bacteria cannot produce fruit that can be sold. When Spike's farm started to suffer from the disease, he went to South Africa to learn how growers there were able to produce high-yielding, quality fruit in areas that had greening. He learned that by using open-field hydroponics, the trees were able to produce high-quality fruit at a much younger age. Using open hydroponics, the irrigation systems give new trees a precisely calculated daily mix of water and small amounts of fertilizer that matches the exact needs of the trees. Using much less water and fertilizer than conventional farmers, this system allows faster growth and higher production of fruit.
How do farmers conserve water?
Good question. The way crops are watered is important when it comes to sustainability. Paul DeRoos, a progressive farmer in Wekiwa Springs, Florida, uses a rather primitive yet extremely effective way of nourishing his crops.
People would probably ask me, you save on water? Well, it comes out of the sky for us, and that one is free. So the more it rains, the better it is for me.
Collected in glass gutters, rain falling on the greenhouse's roof is channeled to collection boxes at either end of the building, where the water is then gravity-fed into 4 600,000-gallon storage tanks. A mere 4 inches of rain can sustain the greenhouse for up to 3 months. With this much rainwater, DeRoos Plants Incorporated can nourish all of the nursery's plants without having to draw water from the ground. Although impressive, DeRoos decided to take it one step further. The plants are irrigated by filling benches with rainwater. Mixed with fertilizer, the water is absorbed upward by the potted plants. The benches are designed to fill quickly and drain slowly, so the plants get a good soaking. As the benches drain, the water is gravity-fed back to the main tank, where it's strained and pumped back to the plants as needed. With this system, only a fraction of the fertilizer is applied, since it too is recycled with the water. Rainwater used for irrigation also helps to cool the greenhouse, where air and heat are trapped in a sealed room of glass. Huge fans blow cool, moist air throughout the greenhouse by drawing warm air from outside and passing it through wall panels saturated with the stored water. Humidity can be increased with mist, and temperature is regulated with radiated heat by running rainwater through a boiler, then through pipes above and below the benches. Just a hop, skip, and a jump down the road from DeRoos Farms is soil-enriched Apopka, Florida, where Alto Strawn has learned to adjust to changing regulations. As an innovative, sustainable berry farmer, he helped create a $6 billion blueberry industry. Having continuously grown watermelons across the state since 1968, Alto has witnessed changes in water regulations for Florida's farmers. Anticipating more, he researched ways to modify his growing methods for conservation, efficiency, and productivity. One of the first farmers in the state to grow melons using drip tape and plastic mulch, he applied that technology to his blueberries. He then installed a pulse pumping system, which delivers a small amount of pH-balanced water and nutrients numerous times a day, virtually eliminating any leaching into the soil.
On the forefront, he's very progressive, and he is very innovative. He's willing to look at different avenues of conserving water, conserving fertilizer out here, yet increasing yield in his crop.
Looking for ways to reduce agriculture's draw on the aquifer, Strawn's research led him to high tunnels. Typically covering a quarter acre, each high tunnel raises the ambient air temperature substantially, thus keeping it warmer longer. Not only did this reduce the need to pump water for freeze protection, it reduced by about 50% the water previously needed to nourish and protect the plants. The warmer air also enables the bushes to stay evergreen, which can double their yields.
Do they use machines to harvest the fruit?
Yes, and aside from decreasing the need to tap underground water, Strawn is also looking for hardier plants that can be mechanically harvested. With labor to pick berries becoming more difficult to find, Strawn is planting all of his new fields to accommodate machine harvesting. Machine harvesting is a perfect example of how technology can benefit agriculture in a sustainable way. There are several ways in which students can help become an active part of sustainable agriculture. It starts at home. By designating an area in your backyard for a garden, you can begin to plant, grow, and harvest your own fruits and vegetables. Unlike the local grocery store, at-home gardens also show how your plants are grown and what is used to sustain them. After all, you're the one managing the crops. If creating your own garden isn't an option at home, a weekly trip to the farmer's market will give you a great connection with your local farmers and farming community. Also, produce found in farmers' markets is usually nourished using natural alternatives to fertilizers and pesticides, so the food is not only local, but also oftentimes organic. Farmers' markets have continued to expand and have found their way to large cities across the nation. Although we have gained a vast amount of knowledge since our ancestors began farming, we still have much to learn. With a growing number of people concerned about the environment, the way our produce is grown, and the impact it has on our health and well-being, we must continue to refine agriculture so we can sustain our planet for generations to come.